After my first failed marriage, I really started to suffer with depression. I then started looking for love in the wrong places. I started dating other people here and abroad, and I still felt so alone, but I was really desperate to find someone to fill that gap. I then married again, and that relationship failed as well, but this time I had a child as well. This is probably one of the worst moments of my life. Failed relationships and alone with a child. I felt desperate, I felt lonely, I felt empty, I felt rejected, I felt there was nothing else for me to live for. During my search for happiness, I turned to drugs, partying, meeting different people, and nothing would make me happy, nothing would fulfill me, nothing would allow me to have peace. I got to a point that I'd had enough of everything, had enough of my life. I just wanted happiness, I just wanted to be fulfilled. So I decided to accept an invitation from a friend, and I started to learn that there was help. And that help was through my faith, through searching God, through His Word, and really putting into practice the things that I learned. I understood firstly that I didn't have to suffer and that actually I wasn't alone. I started to do chains of prayers. I started to make specific prayers for myself, to look after myself, to go deep and not just look at the circumstances around me. Through those prayers, things started to change inside of me. The way that I saw myself, the way that I saw my life, to know that actually I could be happy and I didn't need to depend on anyone else. Today, the way I see myself is completely different. I'm fulfilled, I'm a happy person, I'm assertive, I'm able to make decisions, I'm able to move forward, I have a career, I have family. Everything that I thought was impossible for my life, today is possible, and there are no limits.
Hello, a very good evening and welcome to Finding Answers. Now, before I tell you what the topic for tonight is, I'm going to go straight to my colleague Victoria, who's here with me. Good evening, Victoria.
Good evening.
And you're going to read something very interesting to us, a story you found out about, which tells us about tonight's topic. So please go ahead.
Okay, this is an interesting one, I'll admit. Last week in the news, a 55-year-old woman who'd been married to an oil contractor for 17 years found that he had been married again in a secret wedding that cost £45,000. She discovered this fact via Facebook. She clicked on the other woman's Facebook page and saw a photo of the wedding and them kissing. So, why do people live these double lives? And how does a person deal with the fact that their partner has been lying to them for so long? Is it easy to live a double life the way that modern society functions?
And you forgot a question there, which is, how did this man spend £45,000 without his wife noticing, right? Because that's just not the kind of money you spend in the shop down the road. So I have no idea. Do you know how that happened? How he used £45,000 without the wife knowing?
Well, he was working in Oman and earning a substantial amount of money a year. He was with this woman for 18 months without his wife knowing before they got married. All I can assume is that he siphoned off some money from funds that she wasn't aware about and paid for it that way.
So tonight we're talking about secrets. We're not going to be telling you or ideas on how to hide your secrets, because secrets are not a very good thing to have. They're like cancer, because the thing about a secret is that you try really hard to hide that secret, and then you have to try harder every day that goes by to keep that secret hidden, and it just grows. It keeps growing and sometimes taking over your life. And actually, if it's a secret, it's probably something you shouldn't be keeping a secret, because you're hiding it from someone for a reason, right? For example, I personally believe that between a husband and a wife, there are no secrets whatsoever. There's no secret passwords to computers, no secret passwords to secret email accounts. There's no secrets on passwords on mobile phones and separate accounts without knowing how much the other person earns. That is a recipe for disaster. When you're together with someone, there has to be complete transparency. And if that doesn't happen, sooner or later a problem will surface. And that's guaranteed. Because the thing is, even if you have no intention of hiding something from the person, the fact that you are able to hide something, at some point you'll be tempted to do so. Now, how can I put it? The damage that can happen to someone who's been a victim of another person that they trusted, a victim of someone who hid things from them, who lived a double life, the damage can be very severe. Do you agree with me, Victoria?
Yeah, you can shatter all means of any values that the person holds for your relationship. You've betrayed them, you've lost their trust, and really they'll be thinking, did you ever really love me in the first place? So you can do an awful lot of damage, yeah.
Yeah, and the thing about secrets is that there's no benefit to it. I mean, you're hiding something. When you're hiding something, you're hiding it for a reason. You don't want the person to find out for a reason. For example, if you are embezzling money from a company you work in, you're keeping that secret for a reason. It's beneficial for you, but you know that if your boss finds out, you're going to lose your job. If you are keeping some kind of extracurricular activity from your spouse, hidden from your spouse, you're doing that for a reason, right? And the thing is that when the bomb explodes, people get hurt, people get damaged. People, sometimes it's very difficult to recover from that. We prepared a video to talk about this. Have a look at it.
Secret lives are actually quite common. Some people lie to their loved ones and some even lie to themselves. Secret lives can range from telling people that you're on a diet whilst then diving into the chocolate ice cream in your freezer, to having affairs and creating an entirely new family without telling your existing partner. People live these secret lives because they may feel unhappy in their life. They may want to break free somehow and try to make their life interesting again. Living a secret life enables you to act one way around some people and then activate a different part of you secretly. Examples of secret lives could be men who are unhappy in their marriage, having affairs or frequently visiting prostitutes. Women who are unhappy with their weight live private bulimic lives. Many will go on to develop addictions with alcohol, drugs, gambling and online shopping. Others may spend hours online secretly stalking their former partners. People living secret lives can cause horrendous destruction to their loved ones. If you are living a secret life, then there are ways to help you stop. Own your behaviour. Make a real and committed decision to end it. Look at what is making you unhappy. Would you be happier if you left your partner rather than continually lying to them? Are you addicted? Secret lives are often linked to addictions. So get help for a sex, drug, gambling, internet or shopping addiction. Seek treatment for a psychiatric disorder. A number of secret lives have their origins in real psychiatric disorders, such as anorexia, bulimia, or bipolar disorder. Remember, living secret lives are destructive. They can have a devastating and long-lasting impact on your loved ones.
There's two kinds of secrets. There's a secret you hide because you don't want people to know a certain part of you that may not necessarily hurt someone else. So we had the example, some people even keep secrets that they have some ice cream in the fridge. Is that right?
Yeah. So they say they're on a diet, but then they'll sneak off and have some ice cream.
That probably won't be a big issue in your family, unless they tell you, look, you didn't give me any of the ice cream, you selfish so-and-so. You ate everything, right? I mean, these secrets, they're bad, but they're not going to cause tremendous amounts of problems. Now, when you start hiding something, that can affect people who are close to you, then you need to think about this, because you are being very selfish. You're being extremely selfish, only thinking about the benefit you can get from that. And then the other side to this is the people who trusted someone completely, because there are people that trust, a partner, a family member, unreservedly. I trust my wife unreservedly. When you trust someone unreservedly and then you find out this big secret about the person, it's like your world can collapse, because it's like everything the person believed, Victoria, it's like it was a lie. Like they believed in a lie for this woman, like for 17 years. And it can be very, it can be a very terrible situation, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I mean, she was with him for 17 years, so and it was the 18 months at the end that were the real problem. But to be honest, probably about over 50% of people who find out that their partners have been living a secret or double life did actually have an inclination that was happening, and they didn't mention it. And I think we've mentioned before on the show that divorces that seek help, 90% of the time they've already run out of help, and there's no hope for them. So yeah, often it can be a huge shock, and people really do think that their whole life with this person has been a total lie. But in some situations, they have actually predicted it.
And it can be difficult if you trusted someone and then all of a sudden this person, comes out being a total farce and a liar. It can be very difficult to trust someone again.
That's
right?
it, yeah. Then you look into yourself and you say, well, what's wrong with me? And then you develop trust issues. And that's one of the biggest problems that people find with relationships, is they suddenly put this huge wall up and they say, I'm never trusting anybody again. And they find it really difficult to open up in the future.
And that's where we get some women saying that men are all the same, right? All men are, cheaters and all this kind of stuff. Or women are all the same, and the story goes on. Now, I want to introduce you to someone tonight who, at one point, she was the victim of a secret that had terrible effects in her life. You're going to meet Yolanda later on today. Actually, she's already here sitting with me. Let's get her on the screen. That's Yolanda. Say hello, Yolanda. Wave goodbye to people at home. Not goodbye, hello, because we're just starting. But Yolanda, she was a victim of a secret life from someone she trusted. Now, how did she recover from that? How did she manage to trust someone again and to rebuild her life in an amazing way? You're going to hear her story in just a few moments. But if you say, James, I have been in a situation like that, I find it very difficult to trust people. I cannot trust anyone ever again. I just can't. There's no chance I can ever trust a woman again, or I can ever trust a man again. There's no chance I can ever make friends again, because my best friend betrayed me, cheated on me, and now I think that if I ever trust someone, I'll be hurt that same way again. Maybe you are like this. Maybe you are someone who's holding a huge secret. And just before I go to the break, I just want to go back to Victoria. Because usually, Victoria, when someone is holding a very big secret and they're caught, there's two overwhelming feelings. There's a feeling of guilt, but there's also a feeling of relief, because it can be very stressful to put on a fake life for everybody to believe in. It takes a toll on you.
It really does. I mean, can you imagine the things that you have to think about before you speak? If some people have left, or they're still with their wife, for example, a man will go to another country and start a new family. Imagine the things that he'll have to then think about before he goes and sees his previous wife. I mean, it's really stressful. It really does take a toll. So it just depends on whether you feel sorry for the person or not.
Yeah, and if we just said, if you've been hurt, if you can't trust anybody again, I want you to contact us. But also, if you are the person who is holding the secret, the one who's holding information that can hurt, but by hiding the information, you're also hurting the person. The quicker you reveal this and you put the cards on the table and you try to be as honest as you can, the better. Maybe you are tired of living a lie. You have this weight on your shoulders. You have this burden of having to make up a life that's not your life. And you're tired of that. You want to come clean. You want to come clean, and then with secrets come blackmail. That's right. Some people, a lot of people say blackmail is illegal. It's illegal, but people use blackmail against others because they've done something wrong. So maybe you're tired of the blackmail, you're tired of the guilt, you're tired of having to be two-faced or living a double life, and you want to be free from this. Get in contact with us. We're going to help you. The telephone number is 020-7686-6300, 020-7686-6300, or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. We've been having people contacting us on Facebook. We'll be having some of their opinions tonight here on the show. But if you want to contact us on Facebook and Twitter, how can they do that, Victoria?
So if you'd like to contact us via Twitter, then send us a tweet. Just start your tweets with @FindAnswersTV. Or if you'd like to comment on something on Facebook, then just search for Finding Answers.
We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back.
Hi, the Chrissy B Show airs live on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, coming to your homes with entertainment, life issues as well as hard-hitting topics, coupled with friendly and practical advice. I love to look at the happier side of life and believe a person can achieve amazing things when they put their mind to it. The Chrissy B Show, always aiming to show you the happier side of life.
I was an alcoholic, but before that I grew up in a family who were alcoholics. My lowest point was when I was at the hospital and my GP told me that I had problems with my liver. I heard about the help center when my son invited me. On a Tuesday was the day that you could come for prayers. This was in July 1997 when I stopped drinking completely, and I'll never drink again.
Welcome back. Now, going back to Victoria, just before we speak to Yolanda, who's here with us, we were talking about the burden of having to hide the lies, the secrets you have. Because we spoke a lot about the damage it does to the person who's on the receiving end of those lies. But for the person who lives those lies, a lot of people will say they have their cake and eat it. But the truth is, it's not easy to live that lie. You were saying that people have to really think before they speak so that they don't compromise their fake life. But even when they sleep, because subconsciously, sometimes when you sleep, you are saying things that pertain to your real life, right? So you have to be constantly on your toes. It can't be easy living like that.
No, it must be very, very stressful indeed. I mean, you must be constantly pumping adrenaline through your body. So you're going to be constantly on high alert, ready for fight or flight the whole time. And you just must, I mean, people must just get ill. Their immune system will be down. And yeah, it's just a constant battle with yourself because something bad hasn't happened to you as such. You've made this happen, which is sort of twice as worse. So yeah, it must be very stressful indeed.
Indeed. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have a very special prayer here in the program. Have a look.
If you or someone in your family is ill, or you feel that your financial life is sick and your life isn't moving forward, join us on Wednesday the 5th, when we'll be blessing the bread and the water on the program so you can eat and drink of it in faith. Because the Word of God says, "So you shall serve the Lord your God, and he will bless your bread and your water, and I will take sickness away from the midst of you."
Welcome back. Now, I want you to hear Yolanda's amazing story. Let's meet her.
It's pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Now, Yolanda, we were saying earlier that some people know that their partners are living a double life, are living a secret life, but they choose not to see the signs. Did that happen to you?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's right.
We're now jumping halfway into your story, but there was a relationship that your partner had a double life. You saw the signs, but you chose not to believe them. What happened?
Well, I saw many signs since the beginning, since we got married. But I believe it's because I had issues of my own that I didn't want to be by myself. So, and I had a broken relationship in the past as well, so I didn't want another one to be broken.
So this was like your second main relationship?
Yes.
Okay. So you really wanted this to work because you had a previous one that broke down. So, I mean, did you choose not to see the signs so that you could forcefully make the relationship work?
Yeah. Yeah, because the signs were there. I mean, you
what
see...
kind of signs would you see?
For example, you see like the way... Because he was an ex. Because in this relationship, she was a victim as well. Like, for her, she didn't know about me, but in her mind, they were together. But she didn't know he married me. So, so the way one day I caught them like speaking on the phone, and they have a daughter together. I knew it was his ex. So I just found it strange, the conversation that they had. They were like arguing about things there, and he just insulted her and hung up the phone. And I said, well, why do you have to have these kind of conversations with her? So, but he would just make like slip the subject. And then I saw something on the internet as well, a conversation between them two, quite intimate. And then he just said, oh, that's from a long time ago. You know, but I decided to believe in that.
You were saying to us before we started that everybody else around him knew that he was cheating. You were the only one who didn't know.
Yes.
I mean, when you found out, did that make you angry that you were the only person?
Oh, yes. Yes, I put all his clothes, his suitcases, my ring, my wedding ring, everything out the window. I was really, really upset. I was devastated.
Okay.
Even though I knew something was going on, but...
So that was your second main long-term relationship that broke down, and it broke down in that way. What about the first relationship? I mean, you had a serious relationship prior to that.
Yeah.
What was the story of that relationship?
No, he never had secrets. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't unfaithful at all. The first relationship.
So why did that relationship break down?
That broke down because we were very young, immature. We just didn't get on at all. He used to go out himself, or he used to do, the wrong things, the wrong friendships, drugs, and I never accepted that life. He did hide from me that he was on drugs because I left him many times. We were like on and off, but then obviously we had a child, and that's why he started hiding from me that he was on drugs again. But
so in a way, it was a secret life.
Yeah.
So he wasn't hiding that he was cheating, but he was hiding that he was on drugs.
He was
right?
back on drugs. Yeah. So then obviously I find out we had very physical fights, so I just had to leave.
Am I right in thinking, was it the first relationship or the second that was abusive?
The second.
The second.
Yeah.
How bad was it?
It was very bad. It started by emotional abuse, and then later, after 5 years, he just left me, and then it got worse and worse.
I mean, that in itself was a sign.
Yes.
Right, that you shouldn't be there. But you said you wanted so much the relationship to work that you ignored all these things.
I wanted the relationship to work, and I was also sorry for him, because I realized that he had problems. He had issues himself. So I kind of wanted to be there for him and help him, and I thought I could.
And what about you? What were your issues? Because for you to stay with someone who was cheating on you and who was mistreating you, you must have had issues. What were your issues?
My issues was I was totally depressed. I didn't want to be by myself, and I didn't want to show to my family that they were right. It was pride as well.
So what do you mean by not showing them that they were right?
Well, they were right about it was the wrong relationship.
Right.
Once again,
So
I didn't want to, it was like getting married the second time. My whole family, they got married just once. It's not. This is it's culture. It's my culture. You don't see that.
So in your first relationship, they said to you, "This is the wrong relationship for you." The
But
second relationship, the same thing, but you still went ahead.
But I still went ahead.
And you stayed with him a lot of it because you didn't want to prove them right.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Now, I mean, when that relationship ended, I want to ask you something. Did that put you off men? Did you think, I'm not going to have a man ever again because men are all the same? I mean,
yes,
did you
definitely.
What went through your head?
Well, I thought I wasn't to be with a man. I could be by myself. I could be self-sufficient to do things by myself, because at the end of the day, the relationship that I had, I ended up doing everything myself anyway.
And in a way, you're right, Yolanda. In a way, you're right. A woman can be self-sufficient to a certain point, just like a man can be self-sufficient to a certain point. Actually, we're going to have a program on is it harder being a man or being a woman? Because, for example, if you wanted to be by yourself until the end of your days, you could.
I could, yeah.
But will that spell complete happiness? I doubt it.
No.
Because the thing is, you can have money, success, health, and peace. You can even have God. But even God cannot replace the part that is supposed to be filled by a relationship with a man. Or if you're a man, a relationship with a woman. So that put you off men, but that wasn't the solution. The solution was not being off men, was to deal with the problem. And you didn't want to do that.
It was deal with the issues inside of me. Obviously, I kept blaming them, and I kept blaming, my past, the way I grew up, and, that I've never saw an example until, my mind frame changed. When I start seeking help, because obviously it wasn't taking me anywhere. I was sad anyway. and I was full of insecurities, low self-esteem, and I sought help. I was desperate for help.
Okay.
So that's when
Is that when you came to the church?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there because I want to do something. You know, maybe you're a guy that you've had a few disappointments before in relationships. And what you did is you went ahead and you put yourself so much into your job, into your career, that you have no time for anything else. And you have great friends, a great career, you go and you play football or squash with them after work, or whatever you do, and you have this perfect life. Apart from one thing, you don't have a companion. You don't have love. You have love from your parents, from your family, but you don't have love from a relationship that's going to fulfill you. Or maybe you're a woman who's doing the same thing. And well, in a way this is great. On the other hand, this is a big problem because you are avoiding to deal with the issue that you have. It's not that you haven't solved the problem, you haven't made the problem go away, you just locked it in a cupboard and pretended that the problem's not there. But guess what? You're going to wake up one day at 40, 45, 50, 60, I don't know how old, and you're going to see all this money in the bank and your beautiful semi-detached house, but you're alone. You're alone because you didn't want to deal with the issues you had. Maybe you say, look, but it's the fact that I was lied to on 2, 3 main relationships. Yes, but it doesn't mean everyone is going to lie to you. And Yolanda is going to prove that to us after the break. If you are in this situation, don't pretend the problem's not there. Deal with it. Perhaps you have to go to the root of the problem. You have to go inside of yourself and search where the problem is coming from, and ask God to help you to heal those wounds, and then you can move on. If this is your situation, get in contact with us, 020-7686-6300, or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. We're going to go into a short break. We'll be right back.
All right, real quick. Here are 4 unrelated stories, all with a common bond. First, let's go back to November 20th, 1982. For the 85th time, Cal and Stanford are involved in a heated contest. After a wild game, Stanford, led by young John Elway, takes the lead with just 4 seconds left. The Stanford fans and band are already celebrating, and why shouldn't they? The game is over. One final play begins as Stanford kicks short to Cal. A mad scramble ensues. Laterals follow near tackles, then a blind over-the-shoulder lateral. A mad race to the end zone. Down goes the Stanford trombonist as the touchdown is scored. The unthinkable happens and Cal wins. As it turns out, it wasn't over. How about this one? Meet the Lilies, Russell and Terry. It's 2001. Their 10-year marriage has been a constant source of frustration. A vicious cycle of selfishness, fighting, and isolation has left them both exhausted, angry, and done. Never mind the vows. Never mind the 2 young boys. This one is beyond hope. This marriage is over. Following their divorce, Russell becomes a follower of Christ, and Terry begins to notice the transformation taking place in Russell. Hardened hearts soften. The relationship begins to heal. Forgiveness is sought and granted. In 2007, they remarry. The one that became two is now one again. Then there's Raylene Kuferschmidt. It's January 2008. Ray suffers a cerebral hemorrhage. Declaring her brain dead, the doctors remove her breathing tubes. Knowing that it's over, the hospital releases Ray to her family so she can be taken home to die comfortably. Meanwhile, Ray's family plans her funeral. But someone forgot to tell Ray that it was over. At home, Ray suddenly wakes up. She's checked again by her doctors, who cannot believe that she's still alive, much less alert and healthy. Funeral plans have now turned into vacation plans for Ray and her family. Logically devoid of hope, legally divorced, literally dead. Everyone thought it was over. It's not the first time. Flashback almost 2,000 years. A man claiming to be the long-anticipated Messiah is unfairly accused. Offered up to the lying crowds by a Roman official, the supposed Savior is flogged, mocked, tortured, and beaten. He is nailed to a tree and crucified. He dies and is buried. Hopes that he is the Messiah fade away. It is finished. Friends scatter. Disciples hide. Evil celebrates. And for 3 days, it is over. But on the third day, there's an empty grave. Evil has lost its victory. Death has lost its sting. Suddenly, miraculously, the only thing that is now over is hopelessness. 4 stories, 1 message. It's not over, even when it's over.
Hello and welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight our topic is living a secret life. Now every day I'm going to be putting questions on Facebook about each of our topics, and then we are going to read out the comments that we've had. So here are some of the comments from our viewers about today's topic.
I'd say you need courage to start trusting the other person again.
You could, if the person works for the FBI, but I don't think you can if the person was very close to you.
The truth is, if you break trust, it often is irreparable. It can be repaired, but you have to really, really work hard at it. And the person who broke the trust has to bend over backwards and then some to make sure that he gains the trust of the person again. So it is possible to get trust back, but don't break the person's trust to prove what I'm saying. It's better that you don't break their trust in the first place. Now, going back to you, Yolanda, how did you first find out about the church?
Well, there was a friend that she started to suspect that something was wrong with me. So we worked together. We used to work together. So she started asking me questions, and one day I just got to work and I just started crying and crying, and she sat down with me, and then bit by bit she invited me to church.
Now, when you started coming to the church, you were also living a secret life because no one knew about the abuse you were going through. You were hiding that from people. Now, how difficult was it for you to overcome the issues you had within yourself? Because you said you had the depression, you wanted to prove your parents wrong, and all the issues. How long did it take you to deal with that and overcome that?
Well, most people knew about the unfaithfulness, but they didn't knew about the abuse. Honestly, I didn't believe myself. I didn't believe it was happening to me. I thought I will blame myself, because he will blame me. He will, when he used to hit me, he will blame me. So I really believed that it was my fault.
You believed it was your fault?
Yeah.
So let me stop you there, because that's something we've spoken about here many times. Actually, we've brought Victoria on this topic before, because for some reason, the perpetrator manages to make the victim believe that it's her fault.
Yeah.
And that to me is unbelievable. But I've never been in that position, so I can't judge. But for you, it was very difficult to accept that it wasn't your fault?
For me, it was my fault. It was my fault because for different reasons. Maybe I knew that I needed to put this glass here. So why didn't I put it there? So that's it. That was a reason for me.
So in your mind, it deserved a slap.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, not as much, but yeah.
Okay.
I ended up.
You thought it was justifiable.
Yeah. And also I felt sorry for him because of what he's been through. So I knew he had issues and I wanted to help him. So because I felt sorry, and sometimes he will fall into depression where he will have to lock himself in his room and just cry and cry. So I will have to understand that and try to understand him and say, well, I have to go through this for him to.
How long did it take you to overcome all those issues you had inside?
It took me about 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
And how long have you been completely free from all that?
It's been about 2 years. Obviously, there's always something that you need to work on.
Yeah.
I mean,
even myself, there are things I want to improve on, right? But I'm saying, how long have you been free from the depression and all those issues?
Yeah, about 3-4 years.
3-4 years.
Yeah.
Okay. And how is life now, Yolanda?
Life is good now. I use my mind, not my heart. I think before I act. But I know what I want, and I know what I want is good. So I know it's right for me and for the people around me, and that's what I focus now. I determine what I want. Going to church and believe and having this faith, it helped me to have a strong mind. So I determine my life the way I want.
And before you were saying that you could never trust man again, right?
Yeah.
You relationships wasn't for you because you had been hurt. How are things in that department now?
No, now I'm dating someone. So yeah, things are good. I trust him, and I know he's. We are dating. We're in the dating period, so I'm checking.
So you're making sure,
I make sure
that like you said, you are thinking with your mind and you're not following your heart. Good.
I don't throw myself. No,
good.
No way.
And the important thing is that he's also in the same faith that you are.
Yes, that's right.
That's crucial, because when both people have the same moral compass, the same faith, then of course you have a much better chance of making things working. Yolanda, I want to thank you for you coming on the program and sharing your experience. And after the break, I'll be here with Pastor Edward. We'll be talking about the special prayer that we're going to make tomorrow here in the program with the bread and the water. We'll explain to you that right after the break.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do. This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee, and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020 7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Months is that usually on Wednesday we've started to do this special edition program, special edition Finding Answers, where we bring on 2-3 real life stories, amazing real life stories on controversial topics. What we're going to do tomorrow is usually every night here we pray to bless the water, and based on a Bible verse that says that God said, "I will bless your bread and your water, and will remove infirmity from among you." I want to ask you that tomorrow, when you join us for this program, you will have with you a loaf of bread and a glass of water. Now, I was thinking, why did God say, "I will bless your bread and your water"? Why didn't God say, "I will bless your rice, I will bless your potatoes"? Why did He say bread and water? I have Pastor Edward here from me, not from me, with me, and you're going to see why God said the bread and water. Good evening, Pastor Edward.
Good evening. Good evening.
How are you?
Yes, I'm doing fine.
You are originally from Brazil.
Correct.
Do they have bread in Brazil?
Yes, we do. We do have bread there.
And you were in Jamaica as well.
Yes.
Do they have bread in Jamaica?
A little bit different, but yes, we do.
Then you lived how many years in the US?
13 years.
13 years. In how many states?
In 7 states
7
total.
different states.
Yes.
Did they have bread in all those states?
Different kinds of bread, different cultures. Each one of them, there's a mixed culture, is a melting pot. But we have bread for each kind of people.
And then you came here to the UK.
Yes.
And you've been here for how long?
It's been a little bit over a month.
A little bit over a month?
Yes.
Shooting emails left, right, and center?
Everywhere and getting them. Shooting and receiving.
We usually joke around with Pastor Edward because he uses this different terminology we're not used to here in Europe. And have you eaten bread since you've arrived here?
Yes, I have. Yes, different kinds too. It's something we like, me and my wife. So
actually,
yes.
Yolanda is from Spain. Yolanda, do they have bread in Spain?
They have delicious bread.
Delicious bread. So this is the thing about bread. Bread, wherever you go, is a universal food. You know, some countries may have a different kind of bread, a different color bread, but bread is bread. Bread is the food of the centuries, of the ages. You go back to the Bible right from the beginning and people were breaking bread together. And it's a symbol of people being together. You break bread together. Jesus broke bread. It's a universal food.
Yes, it's a term that we use until today. Breaking bread, the idea of unity, the idea of bringing together. And also, Pastor James, something very simple, not something complicated, not something difficult. God is simple. The things of God are simple to understand. If people can believe what we're saying, they can be blessed.
Yeah. So same thing with water. You know, our body cannot live without water. So God said, "I will bless your bread and your water," to show you that His blessing starts from the most basic things in life, from the foundation of your life. So I believe, Pastor Edward, that God does not just want to remove physical sickness. When He said, "I will remove infirmity." Sometimes it's the person's love life that is sick. Sometimes it's the person's, the person's home, the person's financial life that is sick. And I believe God wants to start at the foundation, at the core of their lives, to heal them.
Yeah, because the life is not only the body, it's not only the physical part. We also have a soul and we also have a spirit. So when we're talking about infirmities, there are infirmities of the soul. For instance, depression, some people call it the illness of a soul, the sadness, the loneliness. So there are different kinds of infirmities, but through belief in His words and by faith, we can get healed.
And I want to invite you that if you have people in your home who usually watch this program with you. I mean, I get people coming to me all the time saying, look, I usually watch you on TV with my family, with my son, my daughter. Get them to join you for this prayer tomorrow. Have the bread together with them. You don't need to have, ideally, 3, 4 bread. Just one loaf of bread that you're going to bless. And then you will eat together with your family over the course of the next few days. And we will pray that those who are inside your home, who are addicted, they will be healed of that addiction. Those who are sick will be healed of that sickness. Those who've been unemployed for I don't know how long, they will be healed of that problem. Whatever is happening there, you know, one of the criticisms we hear some people saying to us is that, look, if you're a church, why do you pray for prosperity? Why do you pray for healing? Why do you pray for marriage? Because if God is a father, as the Bible says that he is, then He cares about my needs as a son. God would be a terrible father if I would be going through sickness, through misery, through poverty, through problems, and He wouldn't care less. So these are the things, of course, ultimately He wants to care for my soul. But we see in His word examples that it all started with the body and then He went on to the soul.
Yes, as a perfect father, as a good father, He is concerned about every single aspect of our lives. I believe that every good parent wants everything to be fine in school and also at home, health-wise. So in the same way, God has this idea. He wants to take care overall of everything, every single aspect. He oversees everything when we allow Him to do so. When we get closer to God, then this is the idea. He wants to bless each and every single aspect of our lives.
Exactly. So tomorrow we'll be doing that. Make sure when you start the program, you already have a loaf of bread, whatever brand, whatever bread you prefer, doesn't matter. That's a good thing about bread. Whatever country you're from, I'm sure there's bread there. And a bottle of water. Not a glass, but a bottle, because then you can also drink with that with your family over the next few days. And here's what we want to tell you. A secret. We were talking about secret lives earlier. A secret for whatever side of the spectrum we're talking about, for those who are lying and those who are victims of these lies, a secret is only there to cause damage. A secret can lead you to have a temporary moment of ecstasy, of happiness, because you're doing something you've wanted to do for a while, but hiding it from people that you care. If it's not from people you care, you wouldn't hide it. It wouldn't be a secret because you don't really care what other people, strangers, think about you. That's why if you're married, but you're walking on the street with a lover, you don't mind holding the lover's hand and hugging her and kissing her, because it's not your family, your wife, who are watching you at that moment. Are people who have no clue who you are. So think about this. If you've been living a secret, chances are that your family may not be hurt yet, but they will be. So maybe you say, James, so why not prolong those lies a little bit longer and I can have my cake and eating it? Because when you are sincere, yes, people will cry, will be hurt, but because of your sincerity, there just might be a chance of recouping that trust. And that says a lot about you. It says you made a mistake, and you're wrong in making that mistake, but it says you want to correct your ways. And this is the important part. So tonight, we're not going to do a prayer in tonight's program, because our prayer tomorrow will be so special that we're going to save what we're doing for tomorrow. The challenge I want to set with you, though, before we go, is that if you are living a lie, if you've been living a lie, if you've been living a secret double life, come clean. No matter how hard it's going to be for you, even if you say, James, it's going to be tough. I don't know if wife, my husband, whoever, if they're going to stay with me or not. I'm running the risk of losing this person. So be it. But at least you can clean your conscience, will be clear. And sooner or later that will come up anyway. So you might as well show that you still have some kind of character within you. And if you are a victim of a secret life and that gets exposed at some point, have some self-worth, some self-value, and fight for your own life. Don't be a victim like Yolanda was for years. Decide to move on, and God can help you to do that. It's been a pleasure to be with you. Until tomorrow in our special program here where we'll be blessing the bread and the water. Have a wonderful night, and may God bless you.